You know the history. This team that you're going to play has caused some heartache. Urban Meyer found it out. Do you talk to the kids about that you're walking into a street fight?
I think they know, and I think they have everybody's attention because they beat Maryland on the road, and that was something that probably caught everybody a little bit off guard. But what I did to explain to them is this is a completely different team than the one we played the last couple of years, and so we try not to overdo it when we're talking about other teams, because ultimately it's about us. And if we say it's about us against other opponents, then we have to say it about everybody else. And it is about us. But you also need to know your opponent. You need to respect your opponent. You can never, ever underestimate your opponent. So we have to always make sure that we're on top of that. We have to know our opponent well. We study them. We watch film. We prepare. And this team's no different.
How much work did you put in on dealing with the crowd noise, and obviously with the new technology, the quarterback being able to, have the plays called in? How does that work? And obviously this will be the first time.
Yeah, it allows us to huddle and get everybody on the same page when we need to huddle. And so we may need to use silent count, and so we work on that. We work on that during preseason. We work on that kind of year round. So we're prepared to use that. Not that's easy. That is certainly an advantage for the defense. So we'll kind of get an idea what we're dealing with, and take it from there.
You like a physical game, and your team's physical, but you're expecting them to be physical as well.
Yeah, they do. They play that way. You can see it on film. They play hard. They play tough, and so we have to match that physicality. And and so this is going to be a Big Ten game on the road, night game. And these are not easy, and so we have to explain that to the guys, and I do. I think that this team has our attention, and they know that they got to come play well and do a good job against these guys, and they watch film. They've seen this quarterback make some plays, and defense play well.
This game going to be won in the trenches?
Yeah, it certainly sets a tone, and when you think about when you're playing in these type of games, we go over and over. We can go through all these different games. The team who runs the ball and the team who wins the turnover battle is typically going to win a game. And are there exceptions? Sure, there are. But those are the things we got to do. And Coach Mick always says, when you go on the road, you got to pack your toughness in your duffel bag. You got to put that in there, and you got to stop the run, and you got to run the football.
There's always a big target on Ohio State's back, but especially when you go on the road, a night game. I mean, everybody gets up to play Ohio State.
Yeah, there's no question. And so you're going to have a great environment. It's going to be electric, and our guys love that part of it. So excited to see us do that. And I think for our guys, they're excited for the challenge of going on the road for a conference game and playing against a really good opponent.
You said something last thing the other day at your news conference that I liked. I forget the question, but basically, what do you like about your whatever? What are you most pleased? Said, I'm not happy with anything. And you brought up the word complacency. Woody Hayes used to say complacency is a 4-letter word.
Yeah.
You're preaching that.
Yeah, I mean, to say like you're happy with anything right now would be crazy. It's everything's a work in progress. Everything is a build up. Everything is, you're just trying to constantly get better and just build confidence and do it over and over again. And how do you build confidence? You build confidence by doing it over and over and over again, to the point where you can look somebody in the eye and just know that you're going to get after them for 60 minutes. And so, that's important. And and so I say, if it's going well, you got to keep going, and you got to have the discipline to stay after it and know that complacency can sneak up on you. When you least expect it, and then all of a sudden it catches you between the eyes. And so we're not going to let that happen. And then for the guys who are struggling and still trying to figure it out, we got to identify what it is that's holding you back from grading out a champion, from being the best version of yourself, because not everybody in the team is where they need to be right now, and it's a constant build. And I've used the term before, like the iPhone, 1.0, 2.0. I don't know where we're at right now, but those don't work anymore. Well, the team that played last week isn't going to work anymore. We have to upgrade each week if we're going to get to where we need to be. So where we are is where we are. We got to keep getting better.
You know how the fans travel. They know where East Lansing is, and you feed off them.
Yeah, it's great when you go into a opposing team's environment and you see the scarlet and red. I mean, I just feel like our guys appreciate when they look up and see all the scarlet up there. After the game, singing the Carmen, Ohio, doing the quick cows before, and hearing the fans cheer after a win. It goes a long way for our guys, and so It's always good when they travel, and our guys always do travel. So you feel the Ohio State presence in just about every environment you go into, and so looking forward to seeing them out there on Saturday night.